ends up in people's pockets. Honorable members, you know we are a democracy. Democracy is a founding principle and defining value of our nation. Democracy is hard-won, non-negotiable right and guarantees freedom that we are proud of and must always defend. Our national democratic culture expresses itself energetically through robust discourse, boldly speaking truth to power and holding leadership to account. It is a tradition of fearless expression and vigorous public participation. This is who we are, and there is nothing anyone can do about it. We understand, therefore, that protests are always legitimate and permitted by the Constitution. Protests are conducted by citizens who are peaceful and unarmed. Assemblies, demonstrations, and picketing to advance constitutionalism, increase accountability, and defend the rule of law are constitutional imperatives. Conversely, mobilization in pursuit of criminal agenda, chaos and anarchy are explicitly forbidden because we all have a duty to defend our republic, our constitution, and the rights of all people. The government, in particular, must remain vigilant at all times against modern threats to the sovereignty and territorial integrity of our nation, as well as public order, peace, and security. In this digital era, characterized by transformative innovations, including artificial intelligence, it has never been easier to inform, educate, and entertain the people. At the same time, it has never been easier to misinform, mislead, disinform, incite, and alarm the public. Criminals and subversive elements who infiltrate and hijack peaceful protests are a threat both to legitimate protesters and to the public. Incidences of violent criminality in the name of protests threaten the safety of innocent people, public assets, private property, and the social order. The tension here is stark. We have a democracy which we are proud of, must defend, and should deepen by all means. And at the same time, we have citizens whose lives, rights, we must protect, and a nation whose security, stability, and prosperity we must safeguard. The task at hand is complicated if citizens and state agencies dilute the distinction between the lawful and the criminal, the just and the unjust, thereby making it difficult to tell protesters and security officers from bandits, gangsters, and criminals. It is only by following the law that we are able to achieve our aims and apportion accountability properly. It should not be possible for robbers and looters to escape accountability by claiming that they were taking part in a protest. Likewise, it should not be possible for security officers to wound, maim, or even kill citizens and claim that they were engaging violent criminals. We all have a duty to make the necessary distinction and to do so clearly to protect democratic expression and guarantee public safety and security. I must now confront an issue of widespread concern regarding the relationship between citizens and the security services in the context of immense threat and intense political dynamism. Numerous allegations have been made concerning disappearance of people during protests. A number of these cases have been resolved, while others have been uncovered as fake news, undermining efforts to find genuine cases of missing persons. A good number of alleged disappearances have also turned out to be arrests made by police officers. In such cases, the suspects have been duly arraigned in court. I must, however, make it very clear that there is no attempt to justify or excuse illegal arrests. Such would be a serious threat to the life and liberty of citizens. I condemn any excessive or extrajudicial action which puts the life and liberty of any person at risk, including disappearances and threats to life. I urge all Kenyans with information about such cases to forward the information to the Directorate of Criminal Investigation and to IPOA, where they suspect members of the police service to be implicated. I am aware, for example, that many of the cases that have been raised are being handled by the Independent Police Oversight Authority, an important step in accountability and justice. Many citizens, as well as various organizations representing and championing women's rights and welfare, have expressed concern about gender-based violence and the increasing cases of killings of female victims by male criminals motivated by primitive expressions of gender-based brutality and impunity. Left unaddressed, these incidences will cause the women of our nation to feel increasingly unsafe, even in their own homes. This is both tragic and unacceptable. It also complicates, in disturbing ways, the struggle by Kenyan women for inclusion, for equality, for dignity, social justice, their rights, their protection, a section of our society that has been marginalized for a long time. I am aware that most of these cases of murder of women by men have been investigated and prosecuted. It is my hope that in due course, those found culpable will face the full force of the law. Members, it is time for each of us, political leaders, public officers, religious leaders, traditional institutions, and family members, to do our part in raising boys into morally upright men who will never need to affirm their masculinity at the expense of women. But instead contribute to making our society just, safe, equal, and inclusive. I appreciate women leaders who have taken time to engage me and propose solutions to address this issue. I have held discussions with other leaders in government, and I have tasked the Deputy President to reach out and facilitate collaborative, broad-based, and multi-sectoral deliberations and recommend effective and radically transformative and affirmative action within the next 6 months. This Parliament will recall that early in my tenure, I engaged the leadership of both houses with recommendations on a working formula to actualize meaningful inclusion of women in national leadership. We must seriously question the drivers and the motives of resistance and reluctance to take the next step in actualizing the 2/3 gender rule. We must call out those who continue to sabotage this right of women to contribute to the governance of our nation. Women are not second-class citizens. They deserve equal representation at all levels. Honorable members, without a doubt, honorable members, without a doubt, every shilling of our national revenue